how do we decide what's right for you in the next chapter? Should we stay? Should we downsize? Or is there something in between? Hi, it's Rita Wilkins, a downsizing designer. Today I want to talk about something that's very important to baby boomers. So it should be an open conversation, not a judgment at all. So if you've followed me for a while, you know that as the downsizing designer, I talk a lot about the freedom and the joy that comes from downsizing. I've seen it firsthand, how moving into a smaller, simpler space can open up time, money, energy, and many resources for the things that matter most. But here's the truth. Downsizing is not the only path forward for baby boomers, and it's certainly not the right choice for everyone. So there are other options that do deserve just as much attention, like aging in place, which is staying in your current home for as long as it works for you, downsizing by decluttering, which is my term that I use for creating a safer, lighter, and more joyful home without ever changing an address. It's that hybrid version. So in fact, in a recent blog and also a video that's well over 100,000 people right now, I created a heartfelt letter to baby boomers. It sparked an outpouring of comments, emails. Many of you said that you were ready to downsize and start fresh. Others told me, sometimes with great passion, that you plan on staying in your home until the very end, or at least as long as it's physically possible. So this is clearly not a one-size-fits-all decision. It's deeply personal, it's often emotional, and in many cases, the source of some pretty spirited debates between partners and family members. So today I want to approach this subject as an open conversation and an inquiry, not a judgment. So my goal isn't to tell you what to do, it's actually to walk with you through some of the possibilities, share the pros and cons of each, and then help you explore for yourself which choice might bring you the most comfort, safety, and joy in the years ahead. So think of it this way. The coffee is hot, but the conversation's even getting hotter. Two people are sitting at the kitchen table, maybe it's your partner, surrounded by years of shared life, photos on the refrigerator, mail on the counter, a drawer that hasn't closed properly for the last 10 years. So on the table, there's a flyer from a 55-plus community, and next to it is a brochure from a home safety renovation firm that helps you age in place. And hanging in the air is the question that you've been avoiding talking about. Do we stay? Do we go? Or is there something in between? So it's a question that's wrapped in a lot of emotion, in history, and also a little bit of fear. And this isn't just about bricks and mortar, it's about who you are, how you live, and how you want the next chapter of your life to feel and look like. So this is why this conversation matters. Right now, 73 million baby boomers in the United States are navigating this very choice. According to AARP, and I know this to be true, nearly 80% say that they prefer to age in place, but the truth, staying in your home isn't always so simple, or it isn't always so safe. For some, the thought of leaving the family home feels like ripping out your roots. For others, the dream of a simpler, smaller space is a breath of fresh air. And then there's that third option, one that you don't hear about as often. It's downsizing by decluttering. So staying in the home that you love, but dramatically lightening the load so it feels like a brand new home. It feels more manageable, safer, and also more joyful. So whichever camp you're in, this decision has real consequences for your finances, your safety, your relationships, your peace of mind, and your overall happiness as you are getting older. So there are pros to aging in place. So that means staying put, staying surrounded by what's familiar to you. There's comfort and there's familiarity there. Your favorite chair, your morning coffee spot, the neighbors who wave to you when you walk your dog. There's the community connection, so you know the local grocer, the librarian, and maybe the guy who fixes your gutters. And then there's the memories under this one roof. The echoes of family dinners, the birthday parties, the milestones, all of those are woven into the fabric of your home and into those walls. So here's an example. Marjorie is 74. She lost her husband several years ago. She says that her home still feels like him. So the garden that they planted together, bringing her peace every spring, she admits it's more house than she needs, but it feels like part of her. So she's decided to retrofit areas of her house to make it safe as she ages, better lighting, grab bars, fewer floor transitions. So she will be aging in place. Then there's a few cons to aging in place. Not a whole bed of roses. So there are maintenance demands. You know, the roof is still going to need replacing at some point. The lawn will still need mowing. There are safety concerns. The stairs, slippery bathroom floors, and narrow doorways can be hazards. And then there's the isolation risk. So if mobility declines, social life can also shrink. And then there's the clutter creep, with decades of accumulation can make daily living almost unbearable and certainly overwhelming. So another example of that would be Bill and Donna planned to stay there forever until Donna tripped and fell over some boxes in the hallway and she broke her hip. The fall forced a rushed, stressful move that they really hadn't planned for. It was no longer practical for them to stay in their bigger home and use those stairs, so they chose a 55-plus community with one floor living. Now, the pros of downsizing. So for others, moving to a smaller home represents a brand new lifestyle. That was one of the reasons I kind of enjoyed that. So less maintenance, less stress, fewer rooms to clean, fewer repairs to budget for. The financial flexibility, so selling a larger home can free up funds for travel, for hobbies, savings, personal development. Accessibility is built in. So many smaller homes or retirement communities are already designed with aging needs in mind, so you don't even have to worry about those. And then the built-in social life. So most communities offer classes, clubs, and neighbors who you can then quickly become friends, new friends. So here's a story about Jim and Karen. They traded their sprawling suburban home for a townhouse in a 55-plus community. And Karen said to me, I gained a social life and lost the lawnmower. So I think that's kind of a win. So there are some cons to downsizing. And so if you're honest, moving isn't an easy task at all, especially if you have a house filled with things that you've accumulated over the last 30 years. There's an emotional loss, so leaving a home filled with decades of memories can actually be heart-wrenching, and you have to be ready for that if you do choose to downsize. The work of letting go, sorting, selling, donating, all those possessions is certainly an overwhelming task, which is what I talk about just about every single day, because it is possible. And then less room for guests or hobbies. You may, get creative with this space and make room for guests or hobbies and that kind of thing, but the bottom line is likely you're going to have less room than you would in your bigger home. Then there's the market realities. So in some areas, smaller homes aren't necessarily cheaper. So that is something that you just have to do your due diligence on. So an example here is one woman that I worked with downsized, but she admitted that she felt like a guest in her new home for that first year. It took time to adjust and just start making memories in her new home. So then there's the hybrid version. It's downsizing by decluttering. So this is often overlooked as the third option. It's downsizing without moving. This means staying in your current home, but letting go of much of that excess furniture and those belongings. Think of it as if you were moving, you basically downsized by that much. Then reimagining your rooms for your current lifestyle, not for your old lifestyle. So that formal dining room that you rarely use, what would you convert it to? It could be a library, a study, could be a yoga room, could be a toy room for the grandchildren. Whatever it is that your lifestyle warrants, that's what it could be converted into. And then it would also involve making some safety upgrades like grab bars, better lighting, wider walkways. So an example of this would be Nancy and Phil both in their early 70s, decided that they weren't ready to move, but they hated the feeling of being so overwhelmed and crowded by all of their stuff. So they spent 3 months decluttering room by room. They now have open space, they have less stress, and a home that feels like new again, because it basically is, without even changing their address. So how do you have this talk with your partner or your spouse without getting into a fight? So as an interior designer, I've been in the middle of a lot of those disagreements, I'll call them. And I've seen more couples actually argue about downsizing, decluttering, more than they did about paint colors. And that's saying something. So there are some tips that I have for keeping the peace, because it is possible to have a healthy conversation without the argument. So the first one is to agree that you don't want to have an argument, you really want to have a good discussion. So listen before you debate. So ask what your partner fears most about moving or staying. It's really important to know, because that might be the obstacle. And then talk about your dreams, not just logistics. Is your goal for more freedom, more safety, being closer to family and grandchildren? And the third one is to bring in a neutral party. Sometimes hearing it from a friend or a professional or even an adult child helps. Oftentimes I've been that third party, and I do believe it's very possible to have a decent conversation and weigh both sides. And then the fourth tip is to not rush the decision, and that's why it's important to have that conversation sooner than later, so something doesn't happen like, that one woman who fell and broke her hip. So give it space, give it time. Big changes deserve very thoughtful conversation. And the last tip is to talk to friends and family about their choices to downsize or age in place, or maybe, have this hybrid version. So ask them, how they made their decision, what's working, what's not working, would they do it differently, so that you can learn from them. And then this is one that I oftentimes throw in. It's about prototyping a lifestyle. So when you take vacation, maybe choose an area that you would definitely consider moving to if you were to downsize and purchase a new home. The prototyping is really helpful because you get to explore different lifestyles, different neighborhoods, meet some of the people, ask them a lot of questions. So that is still a good possibility too. And remember, it's okay to disagree at first. The goal is understanding, not winning. So ultimately, you should share similar goals for your future. This will actually help drive your decision. So some of the factors to consider before you decide. This is kind of a quick self-checklist. Your health. Will your home support your needs in the next 5 to 10 years? Of course, you never know what's going to happen, but if you're healthy now, you can still go up and down those stairs pretty easily. The finances, which options keep you stable and comfortable financially? And then a support system. Are your friends, your family, and healthcare, are they within reach? And then maintenance realities. Who's going to do the yard work, the snow removal, and also any repairs? And then the last one is emotional readiness. So are you ready to let go of things, of space, of routines, or do you want it to stay the same? So what I've done is I've taken 3 scenarios. I'm calling it Jack and Linda's story, and they're both in their late 60s, been married for 40 years. And so scenario A would be that they chose to age in place. So they renovate a bathroom, and they hire a landscaper, and they stay in their home of 30 years. Now, what they gain is familiarity, the neighbors, the garden. What they lose is some travel freedom due to the maintenance and being tied a little bit to the garden and to the house, and then of course the costs. Scenario B is that they downsize. So they sell, they buy a single level condo near their daughter and join community activities. What they gain is no maintenance. They gain that freedom to travel and then have regular visits with their grandchildren and their daughter. So they might lose a backyard, they might lose storage space. So these are the kind of things you want to weigh. And then scenario C is that hybrid model. They stay, they declutter half of their belongings, and they turn their guest room into a hobby space. What they gain is less stress, safer home. What they lose is actually very little. So just the stuff that they probably didn't need anyway. So then there's an emotional layer. No matter which path you choose, expect an emotional journey. Expect tears, expect laughter, expect fun, actually, because it is kind of fun to be, going through all those wonderful memories. So you might feel guilty about leaving your family home. You might feel a little surprising lightness after letting go of years of accumulation. And then you might find that your home is less about the building and more about the life that you create within it. So I've seen people cry over selling a dining room table or a china cabinet, and then they laugh over how little they actually missed it a year later. So what are your next steps? So there's no right choice, only the choice that's right for you. So if you're wrestling with this question of staying, moving, or something in between, I actually created a 20-question guide. It's free, called 20 Questions to Ask Before You Decide to Stay or to Go. So it's a practical methodology. It's a heartfelt tool with space for notes so that you and your loved ones can start the conversation without the arguments. I do recommend that you each complete a list of the questions independent of each other, and you might be surprised at some of that you both agree to some of the same things. So if you'd like to receive it, just email me at ritawilkins@ritawilkins.com, and my team will send that out to you. In the subject line, make sure you put 20 questions. So your next chapter should be filled with more life, not more stress. Whether you move, whether you stay, or create a simpler version of your home, the goal is all the same: to live fully and freely in those years ahead. So I hope this helps, and I'm really anxious to get your comments about this because it does matter. Take care.